Yes, we are at this point with Winter Slop, where most Formula One YouTubers make videos milking some non existent topic. I thought we should think outside the box. If everyone's going to be spewing out BS around this time of year, why don't I embrace it? Instead of deceiving you, let's take an edible and yap about questions never asked before. Which Mario Kart characters would every F1 driver be? I'm going to assign each driver a personality trait from the Big 5 traits and have that correspond with who they would likely choose in the Mario Kart game. The Big 5 personality traits, for those who don't know, are openness, conscientiousness, so how organized they are as a person, extroversion, agreeableness, and neuroticism, so how sensitive they are as a person. And yes, to the nerds out there, I know it has its issues, but I don't care, man. Look how silly the video is anyways. So if a driver is too boring or too professional, in this case let's say highly conscientiousness, then I would say they choose Mario, because who in their right mind chooses Mario in Mario Kart? You could be Luigi, Donkey Kong, Yoshi, the fucking bat from Mario's Gold Mine, but you choose Mario of all people? Boring. However, if a driver is more open or extroverted, perhaps they choose an open and loud character like Toad. So let's just get straight into it. Go join the Discord, talk nonsense, and subscribe if you're new if you actually like World for what it is. So enough yapping, and let's get to quacking.
See those clouds up in the corner? That's where the rain is coming from.
Let's just get straight into it, people. So going from team order, we have the Cadillac drivers first up. Caddy are the new team for this year, so you would think this would be difficult, but not really. Caddy have chosen experience for their debut year, since they have chosen Valtteri Bottas and my glorious Spooky Bear Checo as their drivers. They have been in the sport for a long time, and while they were both gone last year, it's not like they changed all that much, unless they had the craziest arc last year, I don't know. So Bottas, I would say, is both an introverted guy, while also very strangely low on conscientiousness. Like when you meet him for the first time, I would imagine he would speak very little and be reserved, but let's say 1 hour in, he starts to be super open. I'm talking about him showing you his porn collection or something. He just starts acting very odd. Like, how is Bottas both very reserved in his interviews while also posting ass on main every Saturday? It's really funny, and because of this, I want to say he's the type of guy to choose one of the Koopa links, specifically Ludwig. Tell me this guy don't look devious. I feel like Valtteri would choose him because he looks like he's holding in some sort of secret, and Valtteri could feel some sort of connection with that, considering there are still a ton of things we don't know about him. Anyways, moving on, Checo Perez is my GOAT, so you bet your ass I know a lot about him. Checo seems like a pretty introverted guy as well, but not to Bottas' extent, while also being low on neuroticism and slightly disagreeable. Checo is pretty reserved just like Valtteri, but is easily sociable once you break the ice, if you get what I mean. Plus, he seems to be pretty secure with himself and very confident in his abilities, which in turn can make him a challenging person at times to deal with. He really is just every Mexican dad, since all my beans can say their father or uncle is exactly like this as well. All shy at first, but give them a beer and they'll start yapping up a storm for the next 8 hours. I honestly think Checo would choose Wario, since Wario is a big guy. Every Mexican dad thinks themselves big in ego plus physically, and Wario looks like someone that will be in the family, so I think this one is simple, really. But now for the next team, and we have Alpine with both Pierre Gasly and Franco Colapinto. Let's start with Gasly, and Gasly looks and acts very extroverted off the bat. This guy knows how to behave himself in social situations, so he's not going to be bugging you during a funeral or something, but let's say you're at a bar, he will be begging on all fours to do some karaoke. He is a very social person, which also makes him pretty agreeable. He is so outgoing and friendly, it's honestly very annoying, like fuck you, but he also seems like such a real friend. Like if you just went through a breakup, he's gonna be there supporting you, not being like, let's hit the club, you know? All of this leads me into thinking he is such a Yoshi truther, but specifically blue Yoshi, since it's some of the French flag. I think red is maybe too extreme for Gasly's taste, so blue is for sure his choice. And regarding Franco Colapinto, he's kind of similar, but also not really to Pierre. Franco is definitely more reserved when it comes to most people. However, he has friend crushes and is naturally open with other people he finds interesting. For example, the other Latinos on the grid. But what he is really is a mix of both neuroticism and agreeableness. He is a very confident, friendly man, while also being detached at times from a lot of people. What he is that guy who tries to act mysterious in a performative way, but it works. He is such a flirt with everyone he chooses to be. I could see him choosing baby Luigi in the games, and it's such a performative pick. Look at me, I'm a baby. I'm so cute and small, but I'm also baby Luigi because Luigi is cooler than Mario, and I'm cool. Fuck you. Next is the Audi team, which consists of both Hulkenberg and Bortoletto. Nico Hulkenberg is a tough nut to crack. I have no clue what type of guy he is. I mean, he's just there. However, he seems pretty low when it comes to conscientiousness since I don't think he does much thinking half the time. Careless and carefree is what I think best describes Hulk, since somehow this guy got disqualified mid-race in the big 2024, which is rarer than the Epstein files ever being released. So this leads me into thinking that Hulk is the type of guy to choose Mario. He would think it's very normal to choose Mario in Mario Kart, but no, Nico, it is not. Die. And as for Gabby, he seems very neurotic. He's always thinking and in turn looks pretty stressed out half the time. He wants to be as good as possible and any slight misjudgment, he gets stressed over it, but he does also seem to be pretty extroverted and just weird, and whether or not it's a coping mechanism, I don't know. Anyways, I'd say Gabby is the perfect Shy Guy player. I think he would choose normal or green Shy Guy, but regardless, Shy Guy just represents him, man. I don't know. Anyways, now for the Haas pair of Akon and Bearman. Akon I would say is simple. He is pretty extroverted while also being on the lower end of agreeable. This means that while he is pretty outgoing and silly, he's also such a pain in the ass sometimes, since for some reason, whenever there's drama, he is always there. He's also a big nerd since he loves a lot of pop culture things, while also being surprisingly conscious about his status in the world and the direction of it. I don't know, I personally feel like Akon would be a Donkey Kong player. Since he's a nerd, I would imagine he chooses Donkey Kong and starts talking about how Mario was originally Jumpman and how the lady is Pauline, and basically doesn't shut the hell up over trivia. This connects pretty well into Ollie as well, since he's the type of guy to enable Akon and his random facts. Where everyone is kinda annoyed at Esteban's still talking, Ollie is actively listening and wanting to know more. Ollie in turn leads me to saying he's high on openness and low on conscientiousness, since he's both a knowledge-seeking guy while also being a total idiot. To me, this sounds like the optimal Funky Kong player. He chooses Funky Kong not because he's some deep-cut character, he chooses him because he's cool as hell. Ollie is cool as hell, and it seems very fitting both Haas drivers would choose the Kongs. However, I will say Ollie was almost toad for me, and I see him more as a secondary pick, so choose whichever answer you like more. Now for the Aston pair of Alonso and Stroll. Fernando Alonso has been here for a long while. This, however, doesn't make him an old geezer who's outcast. Fernando is surprisingly very in tune with all the young guys on the grid. He is very likable to many on and off the grid, and I have to say, he is one charming man. I would say Fernando is both high in agreeableness since he is a friendly guy with mostly everyone on the grid, whilst also being low in neuroticism since he never second guesses himself. He is always right, much to his detriment since I didn't say he was cool with everyone on the grid now, did I? So of all the Mario Kart characters there are, I would say Alonso would choose Bowser since he just has that energy, you know? He sees himself as a villain, which some like, some don't, and Bowser is a perfect representation of that. And with Lance Stroll, man, I don't care. He would choose Dr. Mario because Lance does seem like a very introverted person with the goofy side at least. So in his boringness, he would choose Dr. Mario because he thinks it's the funniest thing ever when in reality, it's still very lame, dude. Now for Racing Bulls with Arvid Lindblad and Liam Lawson. Finally, an interesting team again. Arvid is the baby on the grid. He's the only rookie this year, and being born in 2007, I'm sure Lindblad has played his fair share of Mario Kart, so I'm hoping I get this right. Anyways, Arvid is a supremely confident, outgoing, and efficient guy. He has a goal, he will boast about how he will achieve it, and then miraculously achieve it. The guy races his own level more and more every year, and it's impressive. Perhaps his hot-headedness will be his downfall, but we don't know that for sure, and for now, it hasn't stopped him yet. So this leads me into saying his strongest attributes are being on the low end of neuroticism, while also being highly conscientiousness and extroverted. I want to say Arvid is either a Diddy Kong player or a Bowser Jr. type of guy. They are little guys with lots of ambition and resilience. It's the perfect character for him. Liam, thankfully, is also mostly similar to Arvid. I say mostly though because instead of being highly conscientiousness, Liam is highly agreeable since he is also very extroverted and confident, but a bit more open than Arvid is. Liam thinks he is very cool and chill, and while some may have opinions regarding that, he does embody that vibe very well. I mean, shit, man, look at his logo. Everyone else just has their initials, but Liam, along with Lewis, they got symbols, and it's low-key pretty cool. So I think Liam would choose Koopa Troopa as his pick since he looks laid back and chill, like he is. Ideally, he chooses the Koopa with the hat if it's an available option, but normal Koopa works out just fine. Now for Williams with Albon and Sainz. Alex, I feel, is a very easy guy to crack. Yes, in both ways. Alex has shown a lot of his personality on social media, and it's almost like he's just some distant relative of ours now. I would say Alex is highly open, highly conscientiousness, and highly agreeable. That all basically means that Alex has shown himself to be a guy who thinks, a guy who is a clean freak and maybe a bit too organized, while also being friendly enough to have convos with, if you like him anyways. He does tend to make some enemies here and there from time to time, but for the most part, smart, people love him, and for damn good reason. He's just very likable, aside when he complains about driving standards, of course. He is totally Rosalina to me, since 1, he probably likes her color, 2, he finds her pretty, and 3, has the same vibe as her. Sainz is also similar to Alex. Carlos is another guy who is highly open, but on the lower end of conscientiousness. I mean, in the races themselves, Carlos does a lot of thinking on how to better his own performance. Some of his best performances, in fact, were thanks to his thinking, such as Silverstone 2022 or Singapore 2023. He's also a fucking idiot. He's likable in that sense, since he's just a goofball who does a lot of dumb shit. That can lead to things like all the classic Carlando moments, or lead to him going on a however long rant about how Chinese people suck. Well, either way, he is both smart and so insanely stupid, much to his detriment, and this leads me into thinking he is the actual Toad player on the grid. He would probably mimic the sound of Toad, which is funny at first, but he just doesn't stop. Now for my lovely Ferrari boys of Lewis Hamilton and Charles Leclerc. This will be short because, at least to me, these guys are exactly the same. Despite being 12 years apart in age, they are both low in neuroticism and agreeableness, meaning I believe them to be very confident men. I mean, look at them, for crying out loud. Whilst also being reserved for most things. They show up on track or wherever they are at public, serve face, and then go MIA until the cycle repeats. Charles is slightly more public than Lewis is, but still pretty reserved. This leads me into thinking that Charles is a basic Yoshi or a basic Mario type of guy, since he's just there to have fun, while Lewis is more of a basic Luigi guy, because he knows his social cues and knows Luigi is sick as hell and not a square. Now for Red Bull's Max Verstappen and Isaac Hadjar. Max, as we know, is a try-hard. He does everything he can to be the best at every single thing. This inherently makes him high on openness, low on conscientiousness, and low on agreeableness. To be the best, Max will think of every outcome and do the one he deems best. Since it's the one he deems best, this makes him a pain for many people to deal with at times, since it can be seen as careless by many. However, he doesn't care. He wants to be the best at every single thing, so I actually think Max has multiple characters as his main. He doesn't choose characters based on who he likes, he chooses them based on if they're meta or not. So my answer regarding him depends. If he wants to choose oppressiveness, he would go with Bowser. If he wants speed, he would go with Waluigi. If he wants acceleration and quick drifts, he's gonna choose Toad. I can't tell if this is lame or cool. Hadjar, however, is a man-child. He finds everything funny and is just a fun guy in general. I would say he is low on conscientiousness and high on agreeableness for these reasons, so I think Hadjar would honestly choose a random character, probably like the dolphin or penguin from World. They are goofy and cute enough for his liking. Now for the second to last team with Mercedes. George Russell and Kimi Antonelli are their drivers, and George is just so boring. He's highly conscientiousness and highly open, so all he really is concerned about is just thinking how to be better in the sport. He thinks a lot, and when he goes on vacay, he's somehow still thinking on how to be better. So this one, genuinely, he's choosing Mario because he is such a square. Kimi, however, is a literal baby. There's no conscience in there. He's like the exact opposite of George. Add in a little bit of agreeableness, and yeah, he's just so much better than George personality-wise. Kimi has played lots of Mario Kart, I imagine, so his answer is obviously someone out there, like let's say Iggy or Yoshi. And finally, the McLaren boys. Lando seems like a very extroverted guy, blah 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 blah. We know how he acts by now. Lando is by far the most documented driver on the grid, since his little goofy years in 2019, 20, and 21 have now led to him being the go-to guy for the little F1 games and interviews, despite how much he obviously hates them now. Lando also seems to be very unfortunately high in neuroticism, since he thinks way too much about himself. Hell, 2025 was literally that. I want to say Lando is the type of guy to either choose Dry Bones or Koopa Troopa. Definitely a Koopa thing though, since I would imagine he finds them to be goofy and cool at the same time. And for Oscar, he's just one boring guy. He's introverted, not that open, he's just boring. Though I'd say he's yet another Mario chooser, but Metal Mario specifically, since he probably thinks it's cool as hell and not lame as hell. However, in case Oscar hasn't revealed his true side ever, I could totally see him being a shy guy player, but that's just off the vibes, not personality. So that was the video. I actually had loads of fun making this video, since it's not often I could do a video I actually want to talk about. This is not me saying I hate my job or whatever, but in the F1 space, news comes very rapidly, so you really got to stay on top of things. So it's nice to take a breather and just yap about some good old bullshit. Anyways, I want to give a quick shout out to all members of the vlog for the continued support. Make sure to join if you want cool benefits, as well as just helping me out. Anyways, if you enjoyed today's video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe, since it really helps me out. Make sure to let me know in the comments what your picks are for the drivers, and as always, have an amazing day.
Good weather for the duck.